The Infinity Castle movie is just around the corner, and there's probably a lot of things that you may have forgotten or missed from previous seasons that could come into play for the upcoming movie. Hi, I'm Gar Champion, and I'm obsessed with Demon Slayer, if you haven't noticed. So I would be honored to present you guys with a full recap from the very beginning up until the Infinity Castle. I've covered a lot of character breakdowns for main and side characters already, as well as watching and reading the manga well over a dozen times. Links will be in the description below, as well as timestamps if you wanted to check out a particular arc. So for this recap, you can watch the video normally, or you can enjoy it podcast style and just listen to the audio. Tanjiro's story begins as he ventures down the mountain to sell coal and ends up doing side jobs as well. He is making his way home and is stopped by a gentleman who insists that he stays the night because there is rumored to be demons around here at night. Tanjiro goes back home in the morning to find his entire family slaughtered, except one who seems to be fighting to survive, Nezuko. As he is trying to get her help, she attacks him. A mysterious man shows up with a sword to try and kill her since she has become a demon. This mysterious man is Giyu Tomioka, and he is convinced to let her live, but sends him to his master Sakonji Urokodaki to become a Hashira to try to figure out how to turn Nezuko back into a human. On the way there, they encounter a temple demon. Tanjiro fights for his life, and Nezuko kicks his head off like a soccer ball. The sun comes up, the demon disintegrates, and the training begins. After months of training, Urokodaki will only allow Tanjiro to go to the final selection if he can slice this large boulder in half, and that he's on his own because he's no longer training him. Makomo and Sabito help Tanjiro train every day to slice the boulder, but there came a day during this sparring session where he slices the boulder and is sent off to the final selection. As Tanjiro departs, he says to Urokodaki to say hi to Sabito and Makomo for him. It leaves Urokodaki speechless because they are dead, just like my viewership while I had copyright strikes. So help my viewership problem by liking and subscribing if you like this video. The final selection starts, and Tanjiro faces the hand demon and finds out that he loves to eat any of Urokodaki's students since he was the one who actually put him there. He slays the demon with his new water breathing techniques and makes it through the selection, but not without breaking Genya's arm after harming one of the final selection guys for no reason. Another thing to note is that Zenitsu, Kanao, and Inosuke were also the other ones that have passed this final selection. As a new demon slayer, he is tasked with finding a demon in the small town that has been taking girls. This ends up being this swamp demon, and with the help of Nezuko, he is able to defeat it. On his next adventure, he makes his way to a big city and ends up finding the creator of demons himself by literally sniffing him out. Tanjiro has a strong sense of smell, and there was a faint scent at his house where his family was killed. This was a mess because he created a demon as a diversion to escape because he saw the Hanafudu earrings that Tanjiro had. Tameo saves the day, and Yushiro later escorts him to their secret lair where they end up being attacked by Yabuha and... Oh, that's not part of the script. Forgot her name, so... what the fuck is her name? Susamaru. That's what it is. That whole pause was not part of the script. I just forgot her name. R&D, right? Tameo saves the day. Yushiro later escorts them to their secret lair where they end up being attacked by Yahaba and Susamaru. I nailed that one. Tanjiro defeats Yahaba, and Tameo forces Susamaru to say Muzan's name, which breaks the curse and dies immediately. Nezuko ends up being very fond of Tameo, and Tanjiro agrees to help Tameo learn more about demons by sending her blood samples of higher ranked demons. In return, this will possibly help her try to make Nezuko human again. Tanjiro's next mission takes him to a haunted house, but just before that, he saves a girl from being harassed by Zenitsu. He ends up joining Tanjiro on this mission and is a total coward. While encountering Kyogai, Tanjiro encounters a guy wearing a boar's head mask and attacks him instead of the demon. Meanwhile, Zenitsu is so scared of seeing a demon and passes out. Just in the nick of time, he slays the demon in an instant, but then wakes up and doesn't remember doing it. Tanjiro slays Kyogai and makes him cry because he said his blood demon art was kinda cool. He exits the haunted mansion and finds Zenitsu beat up by a boar's head boy. He said that this box meant everything to him, so he defended it with his life, showing Zenitsu's good-hearted side. A scuffle between Tanjiro and Inosuke begins, and it ends up with Tanjiro knocking out Inosuke, leaving him with some broken ribs. They bury the dead from the haunted mansion, and the three set off on their next adventure, and this marks the beginning of their friendship. They arrive at a very special hotel, one for Demon Slayer members. They get free admission, food, and can rest there as long as they need to. Inosuke being raised by boars, you can expect him to have manners like one too. He was a wild animal, but the old lady's hospitality left a good impact on him. During their stay, Nezuko got to meet the two causing a bunch of ruckus, and it was love at first sight for Zenitsu. They got called out to help at Mount Natagumo, so they depart there, and upon arrival, Zenitsu says he's going to stay back because he's a chicken shit. Tanjiro and Inosuke meet Murata, who explains how the Slayers are being controlled and slaying each other. The duo finds out quickly that they are being controlled by webs, so we get to see Inosuke perform beast breathing for the first time in order to locate the source. In the meantime, they encounter a headless demon being controlled by the webs. They cut the headless demon in half, they fling Slayers around tree branches to stop them from being controlled, and this pisses off Mommy, Spider Mommy, and breaks all of their necks. An aerial attack from Inosuke tossing Tanjiro into the sky puts Spider Mama to rest, but Tanjiro senses willingness to be free and switches up a breathing style last second to give her a painless death. Daddy, Spider Daddy, not Demon Daddy Muzan, steps in and overpowers the boys. Tanjiro gets sent flying from an attack, leaving Inosuke to fight Daddy alone. Meanwhile, Zenitsu wanders into the forest and encounters a big spider with a giant human-like head. After some comedic relief, he is bitten by tiny spiders and is on a timer, and will become a spider after a short amount of time. He passes out, and then uses thunder breathing to eliminate all the spiders in one go, and lays on top of the fort, looking at the stars as he is giving up on life. Then butterflies appear in the masses. Tanjiro encounters lower rank 5 demon Rui. He launches an attack, and Nezuko takes a blow for him. This disturbs Rui because he is jealous of their family complex, which is a lingering emotion that carried with him from his human life. Tanjiro goes on the offensive as Nezuko is put into Rui's webs, but breaks his sword. He gets a flashback of his father performing the Hino Kamikagura. In the meantime, Nezuko is having an encounter with her mother, telling her that Tanjiro needs his help. Her blood demon art makes a debut as she uses exploding blood on the threads, allowing Tanjiro to behead him. Well, almost. He detached his own head and then put it back together with his webs. Yes, that is as stupid as it sounds. Inosuke pushed to his limits, then saved by Giyu, who slays it with ease. Inosuke is then tied up because he's overdoing it, and this defeats him. After saving Inosuke, Giyu then shows up in the nick of time to save Kanjuro from being killed by Rui. Again, he slays Rui effortlessly. Murata gets put in a cocoon by Spider Sister, and then my girl Shinobu Kojo shows up. She toys with her by playing a bunch of mind games on her, and then kills her with poisons because she doesn't have the strength to behead demons, so she does it that way. Remember the butterflies from Zenitsu earlier? That was Shinobu, saving the day as she makes a quick antidote for him. The cleanup crew is now in full action, and Shinobu finds Giyu with Tanjiro and Nezuko, realizes that Nezuko is a demon, and Giyu tried to hold off Shinobu while they tried to escape. Shinobu's Tsukugo, Kanao, is able to neutralize Tanjiro, and during the scuffle, crows are flying around saying not to harm Nezuko and Tanjiro. They will be put on trial. Tanjiro does not awaken in a nice comfy bed, but actually in a gravel-filled pathway in the Demon Slayer's mansion. It is here where us viewers are introduced to the Hashira, the strongest in the core. Wind Hashira, Sanabi Shinigazawa, takes matters in his own hands before the Master gets there and leads to Tanjiro landing a blow on him while being tied up. Master shows up and then all the Hashira flip like a switch and they are on their best behavior. We meet Ubuyashiki, the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps. He explains that the former Hashira, Yurokodaki, Giyu, and Tanjiro will take their lives if Nezuko ever harms a human. Hashiras are not convinced. Sanabi takes a box in a shaded area and stabs her through the box to provoke her. She is then forced out of the box and taunted with his blood. Sanabi's blood is very special as it is highly desired by demons because he has the Morechi blood. Like we learned in the Haunted Mansion, consuming someone with Morechi blood is equivalent to like almost 100 people. But Sanabi's is slightly different. His blood is intoxicating to demons. Nezuko turns away from the highly tempting blood, which convinces Ubuyashiki that she won't harm humans and says that she's good to go. The Hashira with their tails between their legs obediently obey, but still don't care for her. Recovery is next on the agenda because the boys got their shit messed up. Zenitsu has tiny arms, Inosuke has more mental damage from being so inferior to others, and Tanjiro is the first to train. Training commences with Aoi, the 3 little girls, and Kanao. The important thing that they all learned here was total concentration breathing and how they should be using it constantly. We get some interesting interactions here because Inosuke and Tanjiro are receiving new swords. Hojo's angry side comes out as he tried to stab Tanjiro with a knife, and when Inosuke's swordsmith sees him breaking his swords to make it serrated, he wants to do the same. Tanjiro is on the rooftop practicing total concentration breathing constant, and Shinobu meets up with him and they chat for a bit. He sniffs out that she's actually an angry person, but hides it, reveals that her sister was killed by a demon, and shares her dream that was actually her sister's dream. That being that demons and humans can coexist. The lower rank of Muzan's 12 Kizuki are summoned to the Infinity Castle, where a woman shows up. Oh wait, it's actually Muzan. He can read their thoughts since his blood is flowing through them, and deems them all useless and kills them all, except Enmu. He injects him with a large amount of blood, and if he survives, then he can prove his worthiness. The main trio are healed, trained, and then sent off on a group mission to help the Flame Hashira, Kyojo Rengoku, on the Mugen Train. After eating some late night snacks and chatting, they all fall asleep on the train, and we get a glimpse into everyone's dreams. Zenitsu is dreaming of spending a day with Nezuko. Inosuke dreams of being the leader of the group, where they are all dressed like animals with him. Rengoku dreams of being accepted by his father, and Tanjiro dreams of being with his family again. Little do they know, this is all a trap set up by Enmu. Once their tickets were punched, it put them to sleep, and shortly after, they are now part of Enmu's control. He brings them the greatest desires via their dreams, and then he sends other people that he manipulates into their dreams to break their core, which basically makes him a vegetable. Once a girl was going to kill Rengoku, his instinct took over and strangled her, all while asleep. Tanjiro's dad appeared in his dream and said that he must kill himself. Once he realizes that this is not real, he does and then wakes up. He is the first to wake and takes on Enmu head on. He puts him back to sleep immediately and he has to kill himself in his dreams to wake up, rinse and repeat until Enmu is beheaded, or so he thought. His main body was actually fused with the train itself, so once the others wake up from their comedic slumbers, repelling their intruders to try to break their cores, they separate. Inosuke and Tanjiro are left to fight the main body, while Zenitsu, Rengoku, and Nezuko protect the passengers from his attacks. They kill Enmu, passengers were saved, and the train crashes. No deaths. Tanjiro is in critical condition, and Rengoku coaches him with breathing techniques to stop the bleeding. They are greeted from an unexpected guest, Akaza, Upper Moon 3, who tries to finish off the injured Tanjiro. Rengoku steps in to protect him. Akaza and Rengoku have different ideals and don't clash. After an impressive performance from Rengoku, it was not enough. Akaza turned him into a donut. The sun drawing near, Rengoku holds him back to the point where Akaza is desperate enough to rip his own arm off to flee. Tanjiro goes in pursuit and throws his sword like a spear and hits Akaza. This pisses him off to the extreme and insists on killing him in the future. Tanjiro accompanies Rengoku in his final moments. He says his final wishes to his family and says that he believes in him and accepts Nezuko as part of the ranks as she put her life on the line to protect others. Word spreads and the Demon Slayer corpse took a huge loss with the death of a Hashira. After they recover from the Mugen Train incident, Tengen Uzui shows up to the Butterfly Mansion to take one of the girls with him for an undercover mission. Aoi gets a little spanking for misbehaving, and Kanao learns to finally speak up and try to defend her, which is out of character for her. Tanjiro steps in and says that he will go in their place, along with Zenitsu and Inosuke. They get taken to the entertainment district where they go undercover as girls in different houses to scout their locations of his missing wives. Zenitsu ends up being in the house with a demon as the head courtesan and goes missing as well. Daki, the demon in disguise, wraps up her victims in her obi and saves them for later. Inosuke finds the underground location by following one of the obis back. He cuts parts of the obi and there are two of Tengen's wives and Zenitsu. They fight the obi and Tengen found their location and destroys the obi with ease. Back on the surface, Tanjiro is giving it his all against Daki, but falling short as he is almost on the brink of death from not being able to breathe from using Hinokami Kagura, which is too exhausting. Nezuko steps in to help Tanjiro and takes heavy damage. She then takes on a different form with insane regenerative abilities. She kicks the absolute shit out of Daki, and Tanjiro has to step in as she's about to harm a human. While trying to suppress Nezuko, Daki recovers and joins the fight again. Tengen steps in and beheads her with ease. Then out comes Gyutaro, the older brother of Daki. Gyutaro is jealous of Tengen since he is a good-looking guy and has 3 wives, and he doesn't go easy on him. He poisons him, but since he's a former shinobi, he is poison resistant. Tanjiro states that his presence as an Upper Moon demon sends chills down his entire body. Tanjiro and Tengen take on Gyutaro as Zenitsu and Inosuke take on Daki. While in the chaos, Hinitsuru, Tengen's 3rd wife, comes out with a kunai launcher laced with wisteria poison and immobilizes Gyutaro for a second. It was not enough as Gyutaro now sees her as a threat. Tanjiro is able to act fast enough to save her from his grips and Tengen to follow just after. This act of bravery earns Tengen's respect. Tanjiro gets separated from Tengen's fight and ends up helping Inosuke and Zenitsu take on Daki. They behead her, but it was not enough, as they have to behead both at the same time. Inosuke takes off their head, Gyutaro comes out of nowhere and stabs him from behind. Daki unleashes a powerful attack, and Zenitsu pushes Tanjiro out of the way as he takes heavy damage. Tengen also lays on the ground with his hand cut off. After some torment and finger breaking, Tanjiro is able to deceive Gyutaro and has a chance to behead him. Daki tries to defend him, but is encountered by a sleeping Zenitsu. Gyutaro recovers from the poison and goes on the offensive, only to be blocked by Tengen. He uses muscles to stop his heart to stop the poison from circulating. Tengen uses his musical score ability to read Gyutaro's moves and goes head to head with him even. Tengen loses an eye in the process, and Tanjiro steps in only to be stabbed through the bottom of the jaw and develops a Demon Slayer mark and then beheads him. Meanwhile, Zenitsu is almost at his limits while trying to behead Daki, and Inosuke steps in. Inosuke was able to move around his internal organs with ease as he was able to avoid a direct blow to the heart from earlier. They tag team on her head at the same time as Tanjiro did with Gyutaro. Just when they thought it was over, Gyutaro blows the damn place up. Tanjiro wakes up saved by Nezuko. He searches for his friends and Inosuke is in poor shape. Nezuko sets him ablaze and cures him of his poison. They find Tengen and is surrounded by his wives. Nezuko sets him ablaze and is scolded by Suma. Tengen survives. While searching for their heads, he stumbles upon some demon blood and gets a sample for Tamayo. Gyutaro and Daki's heads end up rolling right next to each other, and they argue, say how they just hate each other. In their backstory, turns out Domo was the one that turned them into a demon. Tanjiro steps in and said that they should be nice to each other since they are family, and they walk each other to hell, or whatever afterlife they go to. Obanai, Serpent Hashira, conveniently shows up after the fight and is a dick to Tengen. Tengen is also a dick back and says that his replacement will be the one who he hates, Tanjiro Kamado. The news of an upper rank demon being defeated hasn't happened in 100 years, and that was enough to even get Ubuyashiki out of bed. Meanwhile, all the upper rank demons are being summoned to the Infinity Castle, and with some narrative from Akaza, it means that an upper rank demon has been defeated. Akaza and Doma start flirting a bit, and Kokushibo intervenes to stop them. Muzan's pretty pissed off that Gyutaro and Daki have been defeated and blames Daki for holding him back. Gyoko starts kissing Muzan's ass, and he says he has intel on where the Swordsmith Village is. Muzan sends Hantenku and Gyoko out there to do the job. The main trio recovering in the Butterfly Mansion, Tanjiro receives a nasty letter from Hojo for damaging his sword again. In order to make amends, he gets permission to travel to the Swordsmith Village to talk to him. The location is top secret, so he is blindfolded and nose plugged since he has good smell. Once he arrives, he goes to check out the hot springs. Things get a little dicey as he is happily greeted by Mitsuri, whose bags are basically slipping out and makes Tanjiro uncomfortable. He goes to the hot springs and is hit with a tooth of all things, and try to return it to Genya, who is in the bath, and he is a complete dick to Tanjiro. Later, Tanjiro has dinner with Mitsuri, and her bond grows with Nezuko. They hit it off and almost have a sister-like bond. Mitsuri leaves after dinner and says she has to return to her duties. She tells Tanjiro that there is a secret to getting stronger here in the village. He just has to find it. The next day, he goes out to find his training weapon and encounters the Miss Hashira, Michiru Tokito. But he's bullying a small child, and Tanjiro steps in only to get knocked out. Kotetsu fills him in on the Jurishi training doll, and Michiru easily handles it. He agrees to train Tanjiro with it so he can avenge Michiru for him. After some brutal training, his reaction time enhances and is quicker on the battlefield as he is able to fight against multiple arms, all swinging at once. Upon fighting it, Tanjiro breaks it and there lies a sword inside, an old sword from ancient times. Hoju shows up and agrees to fix it up for Tanjiro. His method for swordsmithing is dangerous as he has to do motions repetitively for days straight and has killed other swordsmiths in the past. At night, a random swordsmith is walking to the bath and encounters a pot that consumes him, and out comes Kyoko, and Tenku is shown crawling on the rooftops as well. Michiru wakes up Tanjiro because he's trying to get his new sword and leave. His swordsmith is with Hotaru, so he was wondering where he was. They are joined by Hantenku, who enters the room and is immediately decapitated by Michiru. Yay, as some would say, but that is not the case. Other demons spawn from inside him and blow Michiru far into the forest. Genya shows up and joins the fight with Tanjiro. Tanjiro is then separated from Genya and Nezuko as another clone flies him away, where he has to fight him solo. Michiru is heading back to protect the chief of the village since that is the top priority, but then he is in a tight spot as Kotetsu is being attacked by a fish monster. Tanjiro's word reflects within him and breaks his character to save him. Kotetsu convinces him that they need to go protect Hotaru and his swordsmith, so they set in that direction instead of the village. Tanjiro's priority is to get back to aid Genya and Nezuko, who are barely holding their own against the two clones. Michiru then comes head to head with upper rank 5, Gyoko. He shows him his art and then puts him in a water bubble to die, and Gyoko leaves. Mitsuri makes her way back to the village and saves the town from a giant fish monsters with ease. Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya get their asses handed to them. Nezuko uses her flames on Tanjiro's sword, and the blade turns red. Next thing you know, you see Genya having a snack, a demon snack. He eats demons and gains their powers. Tanjiro gets a whiff of another demon nearby and thinks that that is the main body, since the clones keep coming back after being decapitated. Genya, dedicated to become a Hashira, insists that he is the one who has to take it out, and he searches for it while Tanjiro and Nezuko hold off the clones. Once found, Genya is unable to behead him, and we get a flashback of his past. He was the next oldest under Sanemi, yes, the Wind Hashira. Their mom didn't return one night, so Sanemi went out to look for her. They knocked on the door, woke up all the siblings, and they rushed to open it, thinking it was their mom. It was, but a demon mom that killed all of them instantly. Sanemi tackles her outside, and by the time it gets out there, he sees Sanemi with a bloody blade standing over his mother as she dissolves into the sunlight. He says some mean things to Sanemi as he regrets it, and those were the last words he ever said to her. And to flashback, he is regretful because now he is about to die. While defending Tanjiro, he says that he cannot cut the demon's head and that Tanjiro should do it. While trying to behead the main body, he is met with another clone. The anger clone took in all the others into his body and now is the most powerful form, Zohakuten, the hatred clone. While all this is going on, Michiru has some heart-changing moments and breaks out of the bubble to save Kotetsu again. We get a flashback as his memories start coming back to him. He had a twin brother. His mother was sick, and his father went into the storm to get some herbs to help her recover. He slipped and died, and then the mother died of illness the same night. His brother was a tight ass ever since. Amane, Ubuyashiki's wife, came by one day and said that they had family lineage of a swordsman. This excited Michiro and caused a fight between the brothers, and they never spoke since. On a hot night, they left the doors open and a demon came in and tried to kill Michiro. His brother steps in to save him. Michiro saw red and went crazy on this demon's ass until day broke and dissolved in the sunlight. He slowly makes his way back into the house to check in on his brother, to find him mumbling that saying that his brother was kind and to spare him, and that the Michiro stands for infinity, and that he can draw infinite strength. Kyoko barges into the building and attacks Hotaru while he is working on a sword. This does not faze him, and his dedication to his work made him envious. He is then attacked by Michiro, but with a new Demon Slayer mark. After some shit talk, Kyoko takes on a different form that he is only brought to a few fights. In this form, he gains immense speed and anything he touches turns into a pile of fish. Michiro uses his own form of misbreathing and is able to behead Kyoko, then angrily cuts his head into a million pieces. Upper Moon 5 eliminated. After the battle, he is worried about Kotetsu as he's stabbed in the stomach in the battle. He pulls out a sword dart that belonged to Rengoku. Tanjiro gave this to put on his new sword. Michiro passes out from exhaustion. Tanjiro is being squeezed to death by Zohakuten's tree dragons. On the brink of death, and Mitsuri comes to save the day. While the group is trying to explain his powers to her, she takes a sound-based attack head on, and her 8 times muscle density saves her, but still takes damage. They try to save her from an incoming attack and state that she is the key to their victory, as she is the most powerful. These words spark a flame inside her, and she develops a Demon Slayer mark, where she is now capable of handling Zohakuten alone, while the other 3 go find the main body. We get a brief peek into Mitsuri's past as her arranged marriage was called off because of her pink hair. It was shown too that she had abnormal strength and a massive appetite. This causes a lot of insecurities with her and dyed her hair black. She masked all of what made her true self to be marriage compatible. Ueshiki was accepting of who she was, and it was in the Demon Slayer Corps where she finally felt like she belonged. Obanai was also shown eating with her and gave her the socks that she always wears with her outfit. Tanjiro, struggling to keep up, remembers what Zenitsu taught him from thunder breathing, and uses this to dash extremely fast and confronts Huntank. He takes on a larger form that is attacking Tanjiro because he is picking on the weak. Tanjiro is getting crushed yet again and is aided by demon-powered Genya and then ultimately saved by Nezuko's blood demon art. Tanjiro and Huntanku fall off a cliff and he is on the run to find a human to eat to regain strength while Tanjiro is down. Tanjiro's sword is still stuck in Huntanku's neck, by the way. Michiro throws down Tanjiro's unfinished new sword that Hotaru was working on, and then Michiro passes out again. He then beheads Huntanku. He turns back around and the sun is starting to come up. Nezuko is out in the open, but there seems to be an issue. Huntanku is still alive and trying to get some of his swordsmiths. Put in the toughest decision of his life, Nezuko makes the choice for him. She pushes him away as she starts to burn in the sun. Respecting her decision, he goes towards Huntanku and senses that the main body was actually inside his heart. He kills him, and then we get a glimpse of Huntanku's human life. He was a worm that stole from people and lied like a piece of shit. On death row, Big Daddy Muzan spared him by turning him into a demon, mourning the loss of his sister that he just worked so hard for the entire story, only to see that she has conquered the sun. Thank goodness. What a goddamn tearjerker. While all this was going on, Mitsuri was at her limits and was about to give up and die in her fight with Zohakuten, and then he starts dissolving without a change of emotion on his face. Everyone regroups and they all have one big hug. But that's not what's going on the demon side of things. Muzan about lost his shit. Someone finally has conquered the sun, and it's all thanks to Huntanku. Okay, I have to intervene here. Why did that little emotional victim card piece of shit demon get praised for finding the demon who conquered the sun when he didn't do anything but cause a bunch of havoc and died? He was never facing Nezuko when she was burning or actually shown unharmed in the sun. He was chasing down the swordsmiths for fuel. Even when he got cut out of Resentment's body, he was met with Tanjiro, who was about to cut him down. I highly doubt that he was looking in the background as he was facing death from Tanjiro. There are 2 possibilities. Huntanku was able to see through his form's bodies, or 2, Muzan was essentially able to replay their visions and memories and saw it that way. Let me know your take on this in the comments below. We then get a look into how Muzan became a demon in the first place. He was an ill person on the brink of death when a doctor was giving him an experimental drug. He killed the doctor for it not working, but only found out that it was working the whole time, and he gained the abilities of a demon. Then had a life mission to find the blue spider lily and gain immortality. Nezuko is now his biggest target. Tameo writes to Tanjiro as she says the victim from Muzan when they first met is now safe because of the samples that he was sending her. She also states that Nezuko is changing, and that she thinks that she'll be able to soon conquer the sun. The swordsmiths start working on relocating the village and then throw an exciting ceremony for Tanjiro as he departs. Okay, finally, the Hashira Training arc. I'll be honest, I'm going to be a little brief with this section because I kind of went into more detail in a separate video for the Hashira Training arc. That will be in the description and the end card if you want to watch that after this one. The Hashiras then have a meeting to discuss the info on the Demon Slayer marks, and they start a training regimen for themselves and the Corps during a big fight. is on the horizon. While Tanjiro recovers, Nezuko's speech is improving with the Nosuke's brainwashing. Training commences and there are only 2 Hashira that are not training the core members, Shinobu and Giyu. Shinobu is working with Tamio to help make a drug to kill Muzan, and Giyu doesn't feel like he hasn't earned his spot as the Water Hashira because he didn't do anything in the final selection. He was saved by none other than Sabito. Then his sister saved him from a demon encounter that took her life as well. Both his sisters and Sabito's Haori is what makes up his. As Tanjiro makes his way through the training, he blows through all of them and then inspires the other weaker members along the way. He then gets into a scuffle with Sanemi to try to stick up for Genya. This gets him banned from his regiment. Lastly, they are on Guillaume's training. His is the hardest as that they have to stand underneath a waterfall, carry logs, and then push a boulder. Tanjiro gets a tip from Genya that Guillaume's secret technique, repetitive motion. He's then able to successfully move the boulder after applying it. He gains Guillaume's respect and says that the work at the Swordsmith Village was honorable and accepts Nezuko as part of the ranks. We get a peek into Guillaume's upbringing. He was the oldest of a handful of orphans and took care of them. One of them ventured out at night and sold them out in order to save his own ass. This demon came into the house and killed nearly all of them in one blow. Guillaume unknowingly tapped into his inner strength that he never knew he had and beat the thing through pulp until daybreak and dissolved. Only one orphan survived other than Guillaume in the house, and when confronted by the police, she told him that Guillaume killed them all. Ubuyashiki saved Guillaume from jail and then was part of the Corps. He became a Hashira and was the strongest in the modern generation. Oh, he's also born. Zenitsu becomes different after receiving a letter from his sparrow. After a sparring session, Sanemi walks back and senses something from behind and reacts. It was an eye demon. He rushes to the master's mansion and sees a big explosion. All the Hashira and Tanjiro rush to the scene. Ubuyashiki is chilling in his home, kids playing outside at night, normal stuff. Muzan dramatically makes his way into the mansion, and this is absolute cinema. After some chatter, Ubuyashiki blows up the damn place. Muzan, regenerating, is left with internal shock because he does not know what's about to happen next. He is then immobilized by a blood demon art. And there comes Lady Tamio. After their reunion, she reveals that in her arm that he already absorbed contained a drug that turns demons back into a human, and then is beheaded by Guillaume. Guillaume was the only Hashira to know about Ubuyashiki's plan and trusted him because he was the only one for the job. As the Hashira arrive, Guillaume states that this is Muzan Kabutsuji, the one that they've been after. Then they all drop him through the Infinity Castle. Wow, that's it. The remaining part of the series will be done in 3 movies. If you stuck around this long, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this video was useful in reminding you about all the events that happened throughout the course of Demons. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoy the Infinity Castle movie if you're able to see it. Peace out.